Today we'll talk about a skill that will single-handedly get you into Platinum rank of Street Fighter 6, so let's get into it. Now, when you play against an opponent in Street Fighter 6, there's a very big chance that you will catch your opponent jumping. Especially amongst beginners, the jumping habit is very excessive. There are a handful of reasons as to why beginners like to jump a lot, and because I want you guys to understand the logic behind today's topic, I'll explain some reasons as to why beginners like to jump as much as they do. First of all, jumping is incredibly easy, and for those who are just getting into fighting games, more often than not, the idea is that if they jump, they are a lot harder to catch for their opponent. The second reason is that jump-in attacks are often pretty rewarding when it comes to damage. The moment you hit that jump-in, you know you are in for a good time, as this should practically mean you get to take away roughly 20 to 30% of your opponent's health bar, even with the less complex combos. The third reason I'll give you guys is that the people they play often aren't anti-airing at all, so why stop jumping if no one is forcing you to? These are just a few reasons as to why it's so appealing to jump for newer players. But let's start talking about how to benefit off of this and become a stronger player as a result instead. I often hear beginners tell me that they're either too slow or never ready to anti-air their opponent when it's time. But what if I told you that there is a way to know when your opponent will be jumping? Let me explain it. Every opponent plays differently. This is something that is guaranteed. And the reason for that is very simple. Each player you will encounter has a different set of habits that set them apart from others. Your first opponent might have a habit of grabbing. Your second opponent might mash drive impact whenever they can, and the third might just have a habit of jumping. After carefully researching the lower level gameplay in Street Fighter 6, I'm confident to say that if you are anywhere from rookie to lower level platinum, excessive jumping will be a habit you will encounter nearly every game. And if you do find your opponent jumping at you like crazy, then it's your job to make them regret doing so. And I'll help you guys do that by explaining how to practice anti-airing for our next topic. To start off practicing anti-airs, we first need to know whether or not the character that we play as has an actual invincible reversal, aka DP, or if the character we play as has to anti-air with different tools like a certain normal move. I'll put up a graphic on screen right now so you guys can easily see if your character does have a real DP or not. Before the example in this video, I will use my own main Cammy. Cammy has a few options that she can use as an anti-air. However, her go-to anti-air is her Cannon Spike, which is an invincible reversal, aka DP. And now that I know which move I need to use to anti-air, I can go ahead and jump into training mode to practice anti-airing itself. Luckily, Street Fighter 6's training mode is very luxurious and does all the work already for us, as the game itself already provided a practice routine for everyone to use to practice their anti-airing. And we will use this in the video as well, so go ahead and select the anti-airing option from the menu. Now, the moment you start the provided practice routine, it will have the training bot either jump up or jump towards you, making it so that you have to pay attention to when you should act. And in case you get bored of this, the game actually allows you to spice it up a bit, as it gives the options to turn on multiple replay slots that have different actions for the training bot to do on top of the initial jump up and jump forward ones. Personally, I do highly recommend turning on all the slots to mimic a real life game situation as close as you can. But if you are new to practicing anti-airs or have some trouble anti-airing as of now, it's perfectly fine to just keep slot 1 and 2 active instead. Do keep in mind to make sure that you keep moving as you would in a real game, because if you stand still, it would only make the practice routine less useful by quite a margin, as you'd never get the opportunity to stand still in a real game either. Now that I've told and shown you guys how to practice your anti-airing skills, I'd still like to hand out a few tips along to you guys, as these are things only experience will tell you. Tip number 1 will be don't get scared to get hit. Often beginners find themselves hesitating to anti-air because they are afraid to get hit, but I want you guys to understand the following. Anti-airing is so important at any skill level and every fighting game out there. See it as an investment into yourself as a player. If you take the losses now, you can turn them into a lot more wins down the line. Tip number 2 is understanding that you won't become an anti-air god overnight. Improving will take time, and your anti-airing skills are no different. It will probably take a while before you really get used to doing it, but allow yourself and your brain to process this progression in your gameplay. There's absolutely no need to haste. Tip number 3 will be don't burn yourself out during practice. This one specifically hits home, as I remember back when I was practicing anti-airs, I sat down the whole evening doing nothing but anti-airing drills. But remember that practicing to to improve for hours on end will mean absolutely nothing if you end up walking away from the game because you're not having as much fun anymore. Fun is and always should be your #1 priority, so don't forget that along the way. Now if you guys want more help from me directly without having to wait for my videos, then I do recommend joining my dojo, as I will be available there to help you guys out too. That was it for today, guys. It was your boy Danchou. Stay healthy, stay blessed, and I'm out. Peace.